Uh-oh. Am I back? Are we back? What did you do, chat? No, am I back? Are we back? Man. All right, well. So much for that. All right, well, I guess we'll just let me just not jinx this anymore and just jump straight on in. Cause I don't know what's happening here. Anyways, happy's today's Saturday, right? Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna be doing any alchemical admixture stuff tonight just because I literally just don't have the mass to do it. So it said there's a slight delay on voice. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Are you just hearing me later, or are you just hearing like double me? Let's see. I gotta some time connecting with YouTube for a second. Hold on. Okay, it's sent to YouTube. All right. Well, we got that. So yeah, I don't have any mass, so I'm literally just gonna spend the next, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour farming mats, and then I think I might play a different game after that. And then on Monday, I normally don't stream on Sunday nights. Monday, I will try the alchemical admixture thing before the PTR drops on Tuesday. So at least I'll have an idea of whether it'll even be worth gearing into for alternative routes. I'm still thinking no, but I mean, there's no harm in trying. Wow, actually. Oh, never mind. That unique FX. This is actually this is really good. It was really good until the elite effect or the unique FX. Too bad it's not next patch, man. Next season, that unique FX would have been, would have had a higher min roll, I guess. Sag. Yeah, that was just horrible. I guess we can hold on to that one. What up? I think I'm gonna stick to some hordes. Let's do some hordes. I'm gonna spend all my whatchamacallit on masterwork and materials. But what else, Smoke? I actually almost don't even like this setup for hordes. I might actually do something different. I'm not getting any like smoke grenade value really, because I'm never like standing still. A good night. Yeah, I'm not doing anything new. Well, I might do some alchemical admixture stuff or whatever for Rain of Arrows before Tuesday, so I can get an idea of where it stands. I can't see it being better than Precision based on numbers, but there's no reason to at least not try, I guess. Widijo's pretty big on the idea of Rain of Arrows becoming an imbuement build in terms of like is possible, or it might go that direction. I don't necessarily share that same opinion. However, I do think that for a more, casual playstyle, or a playstyle that's much like this, like the playstyle we're used to in season 6 or whatever, will be literally the exact same thing in season 7 if you do alchemical admixture. But if you could continue with precision, you have to kind of change up things. So I kind of like how this flows, honestly. Not gonna lie, like playstyle wise, despite the fact that I'm much more of a range rogue than anything, or a range player than anything. But I do like the zoom of the flurry and dash or whatever. So we'll see. Yeah, that was overkill. Let's switch some stuff though. I don't like the fighter's goal for this at all. So we're gonna go with the setup that I normally would go before patch. Where's my glove though? I think this is it, yeah. Why do I have days on it though? That should be barrier, I think, at this point. Yeah, that should be conceded. Again, I guess it's really the same thing, right? I guess. Well, 20%. Not really. No, conceded goes up to what, 30? 30, 35? 30. 30. So you're looking at... Oh, I guess I could change out pants too while I'm at it. I love the production on this track. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. Zanvex, yeah. Roof 913. Hold on. I mean, it's like right there on the cuffs. It's a 12R resistance, like 81.2. So that's like, yeah, that's good enough. Just throw a thing there, 69.2. Oh man, I can Paragon that out actually. I think I might have been in the control, right? I think I maximized control. And again, I probably could take some decks from control as well. Pick up some random decks here. You just throw, oh, whoops, throw intel here, intel there. Actually, no, wait a minute. There you go. Let's get the +10. What does that get me? Just 9.8. All right. So one more. One more. There you go. There we go. Just, I mean, literally barely enough, right? I mean, right at it. Okay. Where'd the rest of my points go, though? I guess alchemical advantage. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Yeah, we got our thing there. All right. Boom. Now we back to the way I, well, actually want to play. What classes am I gonna play in PoE2? Ranger. Definitely Ranger for sure. A lot of people are gonna do Merc, from what I hear. Merc doesn't really interest me, like watching the gameplay, to be honest. I think if Merc was kind of like in the Monster Hunter type style gameplay or whatever, then I would absolutely play Merc. But I can't see myself liking Merc in an action RPG like that. Could be wrong though. I could totally be wrong. But yeah, Ranger interests me the most. Monk looks really cool. Witch looks also really cool. I'm actually wondering if we can just go close quarters combat with this actually, like next season. Because now whatchamacallit glyph will actually work. As a multiplayer now. You think Warrior might be cool? Warrior look like it has some meat to his impacts, which looks really cool. Like I'd be more interested in playing Warrior than let's say Merc, honestly. At least just from the looks of it. The Warrior seems very like the hits. The attacks and stuff like that seem really impactful. Where is my phone? Way over there. Shadow, my favorite class, is missing from early access, so I guess Monka is free. Yeah, I don't even know about like the other classes when the game actually comes out. But yeah, I mean Ranger, I guess, from a playstyle perspective, makes the most sense to me. But we'll see though. Like I said, I'm super interested in playing, but hoping it does grab my attention. Like the combat itself grabs my attention enough to keep blasting it, in a sense. I think I put it this way. I think PoE2 is like the last action RPG that I will actually like try. I guess in like the genre. before feeling like maybe the drama isn't really for me long term. Because I'm almost starting to kind of feel that way in general. Like, it could be very well possible where, like, you know, I might play like D4 like a little more casually ish, you know, like season start for about 2 weeks or so, and then like maybe be more of a Souls like roguelike gamer. Maybe jump into some Monster Hunter since that's new game is coming out in February. You feel that way because you're burnt out of D4? Not necessarily, no. I mean, keep in mind, I played Diablo 3 for 10 years. It's only been like a year and some change in D4. There just isn't really anything in the action RPG genre at the moment that I've played. Keyword that I've played that has really satisfied me in the terms of skill expression. And I know action RPGs aren't really a genre where you can present a lot of skill expression, but there was a little something of a hidden gem when I did play Diablo 3 and push greater rifts and try to go for rank 1 world and stuff like that. There was something there that, despite the fact that I hated how much fishing was involved, some of the gameplay at the top end was actually really cool. When you actually found the right map, I guess you could say. The right map, the right mobs, and all that jazz. There was just something about it that, like, you watch someone play like a multi-shot build and you're just like, okay, yeah, that dude knows what he's doing. I don't really get that same thing in Diablo 4. Doing really anything in Diablo 4. Or really any other action RPGs that I've like tried, whether that was Last Epoch, whether that was Wolcen, whether that was Grim Dawn, whether that was PoE 1. Well, I really can't say PoE 1 as much because I didn't really I've only played 200 hours in it. I just didn't like the combat there. But I feel like what keeps me entertained might not just be in the action RPG genre. So I'm I'm really hoping that PoE 2 kind of scratches that itch. But if not, then I'm gonna have to kind of pivot a little bit elsewhere in terms of like main game. Not saying that I will give up playing Diablo 4, because I mean I do like the combat, but I think the long term grind of a season may not be there for me going on in the future, but we'll see. All you need is a game that makes you feel home again, like a child. I really enjoyed Monster Hunter World when I played it, like when it first came out. I do have like, you know, I don't know, roughly 700, 800 hours into that. I really enjoyed that. I didn't play anything past that. Like I didn't play the expansion or whatever. But so Tekken, yes. I don't know. Guys, can you believe I finally won an argument with my wife? Let's go. Oh man, you might want to put that on. Did you record it? You have any pictures? Pics or it didn't happen. Did you put the tent outside? Oh man. Did I try rest of the no rest of the weekend? I did. I did play it in like early access though. Is it still in early access? I don't even know. Okay, we'll go straight to this chest. What's the name of this track? Among the Stars, Profound Beats. It sounds like a really good like beat for like a video, like video music. I gotta check and see if it's YouTube friendly or YouTube friendly. Should be easy to do. I have to do that later. YouTube. And I think his stuff is like YouTube friendly because he ended up passing away. His stuff was kind of made. It's also part of the Jazz Hop too, which I wish they give me permission to use their stuff. Oh. All right. Now that I did that, I'll check this out later because like this is like super chill. This would go for like really good for like videos. Yeah, that seems to mix those like with that RPG. Oh, you mean the rest of the for the Wicked? Yeah. I'm kind of waiting for it to like kind of like release because I did play it and I thought it was okay. I think the things were early releases that it's not complete. And like with early access stuff, like like there's just more work to be done. And you can feel that. Like that is just the case. Nothing wrong with No Rest of the Wicked, but it didn't really like hook me enough to like continue playing in early access like that. I don't think any early access game has like hooked me like that. Not even Hades 2, which is a great game, but it's also in early access, so it's kind of like there's only but so much you can do, right? Yeah, you'll burn out of CRPGs until Baldur's Gate 3 came out. Yeah. The thing about it is that I don't really think I'm really burnt out of Diablo 4. For sure. I'm not burnt out of the game itself. I think I'm getting a little more agitated each season when when the game is just really buggy. I think that kind of, I talk about it a lot, I complain about it a lot, but I feel like that's kind of, I think that's kind of wearing a toll or taking its toll on me. More than anything. Yay! Good boon early. This might sound like a silly suggestion, but why not try some mobile action like League of Legends or Dota? Oof. So I actually used to play the worst of the MOBAs, aka Heroes of the Storm. I actually have a couple of thousand hours on that, believe it or not. Was actually kind of decent for like as a solo queue player. I don't know. I think it's just hard. I think it's kind of hard to pivot into something like that, to be honest. Especially at this point in time, like given how like old those games are currently, they kind of already have a scene. So kind of jumping in new to an already really established scene of creators and stuff is very difficult to kind of get into. Not that I want to make YouTube videos for any of those games, because I would never be good enough at this stage to even think about any of that. But there's no curiosity. I don't really see that there being any curiosity in the community for people to want to visit or look for anything new, like newer creators or anything outside of the people that they've already like, they already know and trust, if that makes sense. Did I see rapid fire overpower build clear pit 110? Mm-hmm. I saw one clear 117 actually. I honestly don't think it's stronger than traditional rapid fire, but it's a interesting alternative that you probably wouldn't want, that no one would really want to play. But yeah, I mean 110 can be done by legit, I think, any rapid fire spec: physical, poison, cold. Oh, you could probably do it with shadow if you want to be fancy. Yeah, I mean the rapid fire buffs are quite large, and rapid fire was already clearing 112, 113 before the patch, with like physical, poison or cold, really. The skill expression to take away. By the way, I was waiting for you. I actually did seriously think about giving like fighting games like a real shot in terms of like streaming. But I do kind of like, I think a part of me I kind of like the grind of the action RPG of progression, I guess. So I like a progression type game in a sense, which is why I think Monster Hunter really like catches my attention, because there is progression, but you have to know what you're doing, obviously, at all times. So you kind of get a little bit of both, but yeah, I guess that's the thing that the fighting games kind of sort of lacks, is like the progression type feel of it, or the long-term grind progression. I mean, obviously progression in fight games is just you getting better, right? I mean, obviously, you play more, you practice more, you learn a game more. The progression is you getting better and like climbing up the the ladders and stuff like that. That's like that's the progression. So that part I do get, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm like speaking early. I'm speaking too early because I don't, this is, what I'm saying is basically if Path of Exile doesn't keep my attention. I put it that way. So these are ifs. I mean, if Path of Exile does exactly that, and I'm enamored by the combat or whatever, then everything I'm talking about pretty much just won't exist, right? So, what? How could it not? Because I haven't played it yet. I mean, there's no way for me to really know until I play it. PoE is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know, man. Sliced bread was like revolutionary. That's some tough competition. Might have to call up sliced bread and see what he thinks of it. Have you asked sliced bread's ancestors what they would think of a comment like that? I mean, I don't know. You're saying what you heard in the streets. So are you trying to say that there's some black market sliced bread that we don't know about? I mean, what you saying? I guess what I'm saying is, like, overall, I know you're joking, because I know, but I do want to sort of kind of get lined up as a just in case, you know, type thing. So I don't, like, let's say that there is a small chance that I'm disappointed, I guess, for whatever reason, with PoE 2, that I already know what I'm gonna do next, kind of thing, and not kind of just sitting here kind of being like, well, that was that. Right. Kind of like, you know, plan B, plan C, plan D, those kind of things. I think that game would be great for me, but not for you. Like I said, I'll grind anything that has really good combat. I'll put it that way. That's satisfying combat. But I also would like to have skill progression, or, you know, or sorry, some skill expression associated with it, so I don't look like everybody else, in a sense. Not that, like, I should look differently than anyone else, but I would like for me to look at other people playing a game and being like, dang, I want to be able to do that. Not necessarily like the build he has per se, but I want to play like that. I want to do, you know, handle these mobs the way he's handling these mobs, you know, like that's what I want to see. You know, that's what I want to be able to say. Or, you know, maybe there's, like, you know, a content creator that's come up with some extraordinarily, like, difficult build with, like, insane, impossible rotation or whatever, you know, on like a ranger or something, and then he's saying, you know, he comes out, he's like, you know, super OP build, but no one can play this because it's too hard. I want to be like, challenge accepted, right? Like that's what I want. I have over 1,000 Aether this time. Nice. I really wasn't even paying attention, but I was wondering why there's so much Aether in the ground. I know I got the Hellborn thing after the first wave or whatever, so I'm like, yeah, this would be a good one. I don't know what mobs are fighting, it doesn't matter. It gets nuke all health bars. Honestly, to be honest with you, I feel like I'll say it's partially Blizzard and partially the player base. Because initially the game was supposed to be more slower pace with less mobs. Like that was the point behind it, right? But we were, I would say we, as in like the player base itself, was upset that the density was like low. But the density was low because and things were a little harder because of that, especially like early days Nightmare Dungeons or whatever, because it made the mobs matter a bit more. They were harder to defeat. You kind of had to be aware of what they were doing, a little bit more than, well, a lot more than now. But as you increase density and the idea of being able to fast track stuff or be able to like blast, quote unquote, then you kind of you kind of like defeat the value, or you lower the value of the mobs that you're killing, because you don't know what you're killing, because everything's one big blob and we're kind of just like one-shotting things for the most part. And that's kind of the pace that the player base wanted. And so Blizzard kind of took it. So right now, honestly, right now, to be quite frank, they're playing catch up with that, because the game wasn't designed to be with as much density as we have and as much one-shotty sort of type mechanics. It was actually designed to be a slower experience, and I was looking forward to that when the game first came out. Right? Obviously, the game had way more problems than that, but I think caving into the whole like, we need more density, things are too hard, the crowd controls are kind of like outrageous, which some crowd controls were, some, not all, but some were a little egregious. But yeah, so we kind of had something like that, or at least and the player base kind of got what they wanted in terms of super clicky, or it's not clicky, sorry, super fast pace, or really fast pace, lots of density, stuff dies in a few shots kind of thing. And like people, like there were some people who liked that. Honestly, Rax was a big proponent of that. He actually wanted that for sure. Like he spoke about that a lot. Actually, he wanted it to feel more like Diablo 3 in that sense, in terms of density and being able to mow through like hundreds of mobs, because that felt good. And I'm not saying that that's a wrong approach. I didn't care for that approach, because if I wanted that approach, I would just play D3. Right? I mean, we still have it in Diablo 3. We can just go back and play D3 if that's what we wanted, right? But now we have it, and the next thing is, well, the mobs don't matter, at least don't matter, and all that stuff. I'm like, well, they kind of used to, somewhat. And then Blizzard caved into the, to those who wanted the more blaster-ish type mentality, and then that's what we got. So hopefully PoE 2 doesn't cave in, and they keep their slow, methodical pace of combat, and don't cave in like Diablo 4 did. Because the moment that they do, I'm out. If they ever do that, or try to make any semblance of what it was in PoE 1, I am out, like, quick. Please tell me you're going Merc in PoE 2? Nah. Merc gameplay actually didn't really interest me as much. Like, you gotta remember, like, I like fast, shooty mechanics type thing. Like, Merc is definitely more of a artillery, shotgunish types, slower range character. I like the speed and agility of like Ranger. Not to mention everybody's me playing Merc, so like or trying Merc first. I'm saying everybody, but it's like the most popular class. So like, you know, do you really want to see another Merc stream? I guess almost like Spiritborn, almost, right? You know, how many more Spiritborn streams do people actually really want to watch? We able to see, I said they're more set up to succeed there. Oh yeah, absolutely. From what it looks like, yeah. That's exactly why I'm like excited about it. That's like that's like one of the big reasons why I'm like super excited about it. And that's why I'm like really hoping and praying they stick with it. I think people like Merc a lot because it's a new archetype. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I understand that. But you have to understand, people have to understand that I didn't really play much of the old PoE one, right? I had like 200 hours into it, which is like nothing. So Ranger is going to feel new to me just like Merc would feel new to me. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm going to get a similar experience that other people would get playing a newer class. So no matter what class I play, it's going to feel like a pretty new experience, period. Like, you know what I mean? So what are my PoE 2 plans? Are you there, J Corp? But what up, Panda? Yeah. I was just talking to my chat about like other options just in case, you know, I end up like not, or if just in case Path of Exile 2 doesn't like, you know, rock my socks, I guess. Because I'm almost like feeling like maybe the action RPG genre might just not be, I might be kind of growing out of it in a sense, because I think like what I want out of it and what the genre has like provides is just different. And I'm not even trying to say that I'm in the right or I'm in the wrong. I might just want something that just the genre just isn't designed for or meant for. So like, and so I just could like, I think I've been telling my chat that for some time, like, you know, maybe I'm just in the wrong genre sometimes. Like whenever I think about like some of the comments or, you know, criticisms that like I give about, you know, action RPGs or whatever, like this feels like I'm kind of in the wrong, like the wrong genre of games. On single target bosses, how do you time your Rain of Arrows with Flurry? Do I spam Rain of Arrow or do you count for a full second before using it again to ensure Flurry stacks precision? I just spam it now, man. I used to try to like time it, but it's really not worth. Right now, like even Rain of Arrows is actually stacking precision. So sometimes you'll get more than just a 50% chance. Sometimes like it's kind of buggy. Like you'll probably get it like a little over 60% of the time if you do 1-to-1 in terms of like casting your Rain of Arrows with precision. So you might as well just spam it, honestly. I'm kind of intimidated by the skill tree, but I'm gonna take it slow, step by step. I don't expect my first playthrough build to be anything great. Oh, bro, I'm gonna try every bad thing possible on my Ranger. Everything, every single bad thing. If it if it looks bad, I'm trying it. If it looks good, I'm trying it. I'm trying everything. I am not afraid to fail on something brand new. Like if I don't know anything, I am going to bask in the idea that I don't know. And I'm going to just enjoy the fact that I'm making the bad decisions. Because it's a new game to me. Why not? You know, it's not often that I get to, well, for one, play a new game and grind, and two, be like really bad at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna make bad choices and it's totally okay. I'm gonna smile and laugh at myself and being like, yeah, that was pretty bad. Let me try something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to go in it with like a pre-made build or, you know, knowing exactly what I'm doing. Like, I mean, it's rare that I get to have an opportunity of like being a complete noob at something. So I'm going to bask in it. And you guys are going to be here laughing at me, and that is totally all right. It's totally all right. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, bro, what do you mean what I'm doing? I'm not so on the hype, but I like PoE1. I played a couple of leagues and it was fun, but didn't want to grind it a lot more. Well, see, so for me, it's about the combat. Like, I'm with you, like, in terms of not so on the hype per se. Like, I stopped being hyped for games a long time ago. Just being, you know, disappointed in many games that I really wanted to play that I thought was going to be really good, and then it ended up bombing or whatever. So now it's more like I'm going to wait until I play it. You know, not saying I can't be excited, but it's like I'm a wait and see type guy now. Wait until I play it type guy. But I do have like, you know, like I have positive, like a positive view of it, if that makes sense. Like I'm going into it, you know, feeling like it's gonna be a fun time. But I'm not gonna be like, I'm not aboard on the train where like the world is going to stop spinning when Path of Exile 2 comes out type ordeal. You know what I mean? That ain't me. Has so many people unnecessarily overhyping PoE2. Well, I mean, the thing is, they don't really have to. GGG has already. Here's the thing, like GGG has already, like, they are a proven company. It will sell itself. You don't have to, make metaphors and, wish doom and gloom on everything else on the planet. It's gonna sell itself. They have a good reputation. They don't, you don't have to, market for them. I guess you could say. What is it about D4 that you enjoy so much? It's missing a lot of content. But see, that's the thing. Like, I really don't think it's really missing content. I just think the content itself is just, it just has the content has low replayability. I can tell you a bunch of things the game has, but if you don't want to play it or do it, or there's no challenge in said thing that you're doing, or you don't feel like it's worth, then you're going to automatically say there's no content. But it's there. It's just that it's not fulfilling in more ways than one. I put it that way. There's no meta progression in most of the content, and the one content that has meta progression has a lot of problems. So for me, it's about combat. It's gonna always be about combat. So yeah, I can play a game that literally has one end game mode. If that end game mode is satisfactory, but the combat is badass and the itemization is mediocre, I'll play your game. You wanna know what game that was? Diablo 3. I guess I just described Diablo 3 and I played that for like over a decade. But the combat was really, really good. It was very smooth. There was some skill expression at the top end, despite the fact that I hated fishing. It was enough to keep me playing. I wasn't gonna play, but someone gifted to me, so no real downside for me since we still have a long way to go. Yeah, I ended up getting to get a key from a friend as well. So, I mean, I was gonna pay $30 to do it anyway, so I'm like, might as well try it. But yeah. Yeah, I just think that I feel like said, at least D3 has leaderboards though as a form of endgame. Player keep getting to climb D4. No, D4 has endgame. D4 doesn't have any meaningful meta endgame or meta progression. I put it that way. That's the better word. I think when people say endgame, I don't think people really understand what that actually means. Like leaderboards isn't necessarily what makes endgame, right? That's not it. Endgame is any activity that is technically at a certain point or any activity that basically that you can replay that can progress your character to the min-max value. That's technically endgame. Now, whether you like the endgame or not, it's a different story. You can not like any of the endgame that's available, which is, that's totally a fair point. But to say like no endgame is like completely like not true. I will say that the endgame is very bare bones. Like each potential part of endgame is very bare bones, as in like doesn't really have a high replayability, nor does it really challenge you per se, other than like, let's say Pit. And even then there's a lot of problems with that. But at the same time though, I think what I said earlier in the conversation, I think we could have had more challenging things. I think the Diablo 4 audience doesn't want that challenge. So it's kind of hard to have a more engaging endgame when the Diablo audience wants more of a one-shot blast fest. And you can't keep people's attention for a long period of time if they feel like there's nothing to work towards. But like I said, you can already tell by the people who, like those who, enjoy the one-shotty stuff of like, Spiritborn. I mean, obviously not saying that Spiritborn wasn't an enjoyable class or anything like that, but like I would say more people were enamored with the amount of damage it was doing versus the idea or the fact that they can one-shot stuff than like the class itself. But yeah, I mean, you can look at it from content, like, content creators, blasters make so much money off of carrying players who don't want to deal with mechanics in the game. Because there's such a big market for that still. Like Dark Citadel is actually kind of neat content, right? It's actually not bad. It's not very rewarding, but it's actually not bad if you're going into it with a party of non-Spiritborn players. I put it that way. If you have a whole party without any Spiritborns at all, it's actually quite fun and can kind of be a little chaotic or hectic or whatever. But like, if you notice, I almost see more people asking to be carried in that content than actually wanting to learn that content. Even as a Spiritborn player, that just tells me that, can Blizzard really add more challenging things? They kind of shot themselves in the foot already by, kind of bending to the whole, going from it not being very dense but more challenging mobs, I guess, to being, less challenging mobs and very dense. The whole blast through everything like D3 / Path of Exile 1 kind of did, and it's just, so I don't know. I think it's just really hard to complain about I don't say complain, let me rephrase that. I think it's hard to establish a meta progression end game sort of thing, and the people who want to one-shot everything, please them too, because you can't have both. really. Well, I guess you could technically. You could have both. I mean, Dark Citadel is a separate thing. But like, appreciate the follow. But like for instance, I mean, the old Lilith was fun. I was actually mad when she kind of got nerfed. I just wanted her bugs fixed. If her bugs were fixed, that would have been great. But people wanted her nerfed. And like that was honestly one of the most fun things I played in this game. Even back when she did have some completely BS tactics, it was still fun to learn and attempt to try and kill or whatever. Now I don't even want to fight her now because like she's like not even like remotely fun to fight anymore. This is like Black Desert Online. Oh yeah, I've heard of Black Desert Online. I wouldn't say it looks like that though. This game certainly doesn't play like that. D4 is extremely easy and people keep asking for nerves. The thing is that like, let's be honest, D4 is a product of a huge gaming company. And the way you make money is to appeal to the biggest part of your player base. So D4 naturally has a more casual audience. So decisions are going to be made with that in mind. Which I mean, I'm not mad at them for it. Don't get me wrong. You do what you gotta do. As a company, you pander to whatever plus makes the dollar bill or whatever. Which I mean, I hate that approach, but it is what it is. But man, am I going to check out Pantheon? Actually, what is Pantheon, if you don't mind me asking? But I thought Diablo Immortal was for that purpose. What purpose exactly? Sorry. What really needs to be nerfed at this point, though? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I almost think that like the perspective of people who might be asking for nerfs or wanting nerfs might just be because of the fact that they're probably having a hard time putting the build together. And it's not that it's hard to put a build together in Diablo 4. It's hard to understand what works and doesn't work because there's so many bugs. So when people are trying to logically put a build together based on tooltips and stuff, there's just many things that just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So it makes it hard to put together a complete new build if you don't know what's bugged and what tags work, what tags don't work, those kind of things. So you might think you have a pretty decent build and you build according to the tooltips and your build doesn't do anything at all because it's broke. I'll give you a perfect example. Like this season and like from launch to now, Shadow Clone has been terrible. But literally, if you just build around the tooltips for Shadow Clone, you think you'll be doing some actual damage. And I don't blame them because literally the tooltips would make you feel like Shadow Clone would be dishing out some crazy damage, but it doesn't do that. So somebody might build all the way into it and then struggle with content, thinking that your Shadow Clone is going to be like your damage dealer, and then it's not. Right? And like it's not the player's fault. They didn't know. But how were they supposed to know? You know what I mean? So like if they're more casual and they're not looking at, guys or whatever like that, then then the content they might be coming across might appear to be really hard because, well, the build that they chose to try to put together just doesn't work. Because tooltips. Not even at the fault of their own, just because literally just stuff just don't work. Spiritborn Beyond Busted and shouldn't have been this strong in the first place. Oh yeah, well that's a whole different topic. I absolutely agree on that. For sure, that gave a different perspective on, you know, just the overall outlook of the game in general. Because, you know, you see Spiritborn doing all these things, and, you know, you automatically feel you should be doing the same thing too as Spiritborns are, even though Spiritborns are not supposed to be doing what they're doing. But then you feel like you're left out, and then yeah. But anyways, yeah. Although I guess following Maxroll guys simple as depending on what move I try to. Yeah, but you also have to understand, Von Walker, is that like most of your casual players don't generally bother with social media in a game like this. They just kind of boot up the game, look at items, look at what it does, put something together, and then kind of go for it. You would think that, you know, the most players would follow guides or stuff, but no. People who follow guides are not in the majority. I'll say it that way. I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying that, like, it's not a easy game to be blessed was Diablo Immortal, and Diablo 4 is supposed to be the Diablo again. Actually, I found Diablo Immortal to be a little bit more challenging when I played it. And I actually really did enjoy my time, you know, mostly with Diablo 4. Diablo Immortal, because I knew what I was getting myself into. I played both I played alphas and both betas or whatever, so like I already knew, you know, what I was getting myself into. So my plan was to spend $80 total, and then once my progression kind of stalled after that point of that, you know, spending that money, I stopped. So I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew that I was going to hit a wall, and then I left. You know, so like I knew it's a pay to win mobile game. It was designed that way. But it did have some really good systems though. Like if you kind of remove like the whole like if you remove like the pay to win elements or whatever, like it's actually a really good design game for like a really good design mobile game. It's actually a fun experience. I still didn't get it, whatchamacallit. Whatever. I'll do a few more. Diablo 1 was like an MMO. Well, yeah, it was designed to be an MMO. It is an MMO at its core. It just had like action RPG combat, but at its core, it was an MMO. Or it isn't, not was. It is an MMO. Your ads are starting to show something about a Garmin Phoenix 8. Just me to go and get an Apple Watch Ultra. Immortal was fun. I played free and stopped when I hit the paywall. Yeah. See, exactly. I think a large number of people were so thrown off by the pay to win stuff that like And like I know it's kind of hard to not look at that, obviously, and it's great for content. Like, you know, you make videos about it being pay to win or whatever, and, you know, it was great for YouTube content or whatever. But like the game actually was, you know, was pretty good at its core, and it's gotten even like considerably better since then. I just want to kill him with Flurry. Yeah. But too bad it's only a 6-wave key. It's a new MMORPG that is made from the co-creator of EverQuest. It's a very slow, old school type of MMO. So like, I've played a few MMOs, not many, just because I really feel like MMOs generally had pretty lackluster combat. Because the main appeal of MMOs was the massive multiplayer, like, you know, being able to do lots of things with lots of people. Like, that was obviously the biggest draw. But the combat has always been sort of like not really as engaging. So when I did play MMOs, I kind of try to play more engaging ones. I played City of Heroes and City of Villains for a little bit, or for a bit. I played Champions Online for a little bit, DC Universe Online. I played Terra. Terra was a lot of fun. Like, I love the combat for Terra. That was like, I need combat like that for, you know, for an MMO. Like, for real, for real. Best mobile game I played, but I don't play mobile games anymore. I play them more when I use public transportation. I said, you know what, Panda, I've said the same thing. I've literally said the same thing, and I would get trolled when I say that, but it's actually, I honestly think it's actually kind of true. I guarantee you, if Diablo Immortal didn't have the Diablo name, I think it would have been much better received in the mobile space. Like literally, if it was named anything else. To FPOE D4 for the win. So I'm not that guy either, Sea Wizard. I don't hate on any game or either game in a sense. I'm probably gonna like both still. Like, I will play some PoE too when it drops. But the idea is to kind of play both and enjoy both for what they are. But I'll never be on any bandwagon, whether that is, you know, D4 bad, or, you know, screw PoE 2, or, you know, like I'll never be that kind of individual. In my opinion, I think the more good action RPGs come out, the better. Because we as a consumer win. More choices is never a bad thing. So I kind of want both to be really good. Take a long break from D4, be back in maybe 4 seasons. Competition is really healthy, yeah. That's why I never understood the whole, like, you know, maybe the like any audience wanting any game to die ever. Like, you know, if you want one game to have a monopoly in the genre that is so bad for your game that you play, because then the company has no reason to innovate or give you more than like sprinkle down tidbits of content or whatever, because they have no competition. Right? And you don't want any company to feel like they don't have any competition. Because then that just sucks for us, because they can kind of trickle down whatever amount of content that they feel like and hold back and whatever like that. Because why do more than that? Why spend more manpower and whatever as a company? Now the devs might want something different. The devs are going to want to churn out as much content because they're passionate about games, right? So the devs are going to always want to give you as much as you want. But the company itself is gonna look at that from a financial standpoint and be like, why do more than I have to? I mean, you saw it with AMD versus Intel way back then, right? Intel didn't innovate from the 3, 4, 5, 6 series, almost pretty much up to the 7 series too. So AMD decided to come out with Ryzen and kick Intel in the ass for a bit. And now Intel was trying to play catch up, and they're having a hard time now because they pretty much just sat on their ass for years because we were all buying their CPUs and there was no competition. Right? So Intel can just re-release the same thing basically with just a slightly faster processor, over and over again. And that strategy doesn't work anymore when you got competition. So I want the same thing for action RPGs. I want Last Epoch to hopefully get a surge of players and in some way when they do release bigger updates in the future. I want PoE 2 to be really successful. I want Diablo 4 to be successful. That gives competition. That gives healthy competition in the space. You said just can't stand the PoE fanboys. I can't stand fanboys in general. I think I'm just anti-fanboy in general. I think it's just silly to have that kind of loyalty to... Not loyalty, sorry. Let me rephrase that. I think it's silly to have that kind of unhealthy cult type loyalty to a company that doesn't give a shit about you. They don't even know your name. They have no idea who you are. They're just happy you're playing their product because that means money for them. Now I say company. I'm not saying devs don't particularly care. I'm not saying that at all. Again, if you're a dev, you're obviously in it for the passion. So you do care if people do like your game. But as a company as a whole, the company as a whole doesn't give a damn about you. So having blind cultist type fanboyism for any company is just really odd to me. Because they never cared about you and they never will care about you. So don't get me wrong, they love it. They love it. They eat it up because that's just free marketing for them. It's just free marketing for them. It's but it's just, I don't know. I'm not saying you can't be a fan for the game, or you can't like the game, or you can't like the company. I mean, there are some companies I like, but I'm I'm never going to jump on other streams or YouTube videos of a different game of a different company and be like, y'all suck, y'all terrible. Why y'all even playing this game? They get this game bad. Play this game. Like, it just, to me, it just seems like a waste of time. Like, why tell people to play a game or play the game you like when you could just be playing the game you like? It just seems like a waste of free time. Like, I don't have that much free time. Like, I imagine spending my afternoon or whatever, you know, between working and streaming, purposely going on Twitch into gaming categories I can't stand just to go tell a streamer or a content creator that your game is bad. Like, how does that logically make sense or even a good use of your time? I personally would never understand it. How do you have that much time in the first place is another question. that is your entertainment value. But I digress. See, we appreciate the follow. Sorry, not CBD. See Wizard, appreciate the follow. D4 will release their leaderboard to force players to choose one. I don't really think D4 is really in a state to really be releasing any leaderboards at the moment. I think, not that I feel like Blizzard has made great decisions when it came to Diablo 4. I think they made more bad decisions than good decisions overall from launch. They've had some bangers, obviously, but then there's some also not so good decisions or whatever. But I will say one of the better decisions right now is to not worry about a leaderboard. I think that's a good decision right now, as much as people may not like that. Because if your game is littered with bugs, RMT, botting, etc., then all that is just going to like ruin the leaderboards in general, and people are just not going to take them seriously. So devs spending all this time trying to develop for something that just has no legitimacy or whatever. Look at what happened to Gauntlet, right? Like, that's exactly what happened to Gauntlet. Like, they did it. You know, Gauntlet became a meme after about, you know, a season-ish. Well, one season, really, actually. And no one played it. No one took it seriously. Not no one, but most people didn't take it seriously. People really stopped competing on it because it was broken to all hell. And that's it. Right? So you don't want, I don't think you really, I want leaderboards, don't get me wrong, just not in the current state of the game. I think it would just make things worse, to be honest with you. They definitely got some things they need to fix. The gameplay of PoE is pretty fun. Slow to get going, then hyper zoom in game. But see, that's the thing. Like, I'm really not a hyper zoom type player. I don't mind doing it sometimes. Like, if I'm doing, like, if there's one content for it or something that, you know, maybe I have to get one material and like, or one type of material to craft or something, and that content requires hyper zoom gameplay or whatever, because you just want to be ultra fast to get the thing or whatever, I'm fine with that. But like, if the majority of the game becomes that, like you know, where every almost all content becomes that kind of, like, it's mind numbing after a while. Because then I guess for me, I guess personally for me, I just get bored. Like, if the enemies can't harm me or do anything to me, and they have no shot of being able to take a swing or attack me or whatever to cause any major damage, then like, why am I guess for me it's like, why am I even playing, in a sense? Like, I might as well just be playing like a bunch of cardboard cutouts with 1 HP, since they pose no danger anyway. Like, why do they even have monster names or elite fixes or whatever if they're not dangerous, if they can't hurt me because I can hyper zoom through everything. I think that's kind of like, for me, is like, that's kind of how I feel. I'm not saying that, which is why I think sometimes I think I'm in the wrong genre, because maybe that's a really crazy take that I just said. Maybe I'm just like weird, like super weird to you know, like, I don't know. I'll put it this way. Maybe this is a better way to say it. I want to care about what I fight. I think that's probably the better way to put it. Play fighting games. Well, I mean, I grew up playing a lot of fighting games, and I didn't really start with action RPGs. In fact, ironically enough, I think so to give you a little background, the whole reason why I even got into action RPGs is to not compete or be competitive. I wanted something that I can kind of just get on, do something for a little bit, and get off without any sort of meaningful competitive thing in the game. Because at that point, I was just getting, like, when I played Diablo 3, or when I started playing Diablo 3 at the very, very beginning, I knew nothing about the Diablo universe. You know, a friend told me about Diablo 3 and told me I should, give it a shot or whatever. But this was like literally at the end of my StarCraft 2 career. And I was just like getting like, I don't say tired of it in a sense, but like being an esports professional is not, especially when you're not good at it. When you're not like how like you have like, you have your really good players or whatever, and like good ladder players, but then like not so good professional players, whatever. Like that was kind of me. And I say that because, I mean, let's be honest, if you weren't Korean, you weren't really that good during that time frame anyway. There were some exceptional standouts. Obviously, there was some talent like Idra and whatnot that could mostly hang with some Koreans, right? But like, realistically speaking, I didn't really belong there. But it was really stressful trying to keep up with the schedule, the competitive like housing schedule of kind of waking up and getting paired with certain individuals in your team, in which you have to like do pre-made strategies presented by your coach, and you kind of have to like pit it out on a certain map to kind of see what works and what doesn't work in terms of strategies and stuff versus certain teams that you'll be playing against. Like Slayers was a big problem for me because they came up with a new strategy at the time, which was Helions versus Zerg during a very certain time frame where they pretty much hid that strat, and it destroyed every Zerg player during that time frame because we weren't expecting it. But for those who like maybe played the game and like recall that, but yeah, that the whole militant, Easty play StarCraft 2. You kind of get told how long your lunch break is. You kind of get told who you play against. You kind of get told what strategies you're using, and then you get like maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours of free time, and then that's kind of really it, right? And like, yeah, sure, you're getting paid, because you're a professional or whatever, and you're sponsored and all that jazz. But I think I had so much fun playing StarCraft 2 until I became a professional. And I think maybe I might have a different story if I was good. Like if I was good and I was winning things or, events or whatever, then maybe my perspective might be different. I don't know. Maybe, it's hard to say. I was younger then. But I literally got out of that and I wanted something not that. I'm like, I don't want to compete anymore. I don't care. You know, like I'm not trying to be ultra competitive. I just want something, you know, something pretty simple, where I don't have to compete or whatnot. And so Diablo 3 was like perfect for me at the time because it was the exact opposite of StarCraft 2. Did I play StarCraft 2 professionally? Yeah, I did. Towards the beginning of StarCraft 2. Basically Wings of Liberty. I didn't do anything professional when Heart of the Swarm came out. Thankfully, because that was such a bad meta. Oh my god, that was a bad time of StarCraft 2. So I guess I got out just in time, but yeah, Machine, Machine, is that how I say it? Yeah, that's kind of where my APM kind of comes from. Like I'm used to clicking all the time, even when you don't have to, because that's exactly what we did in like RTSs or whatever. We'll sit there and click a jillion times on like a single worker to keep our hands warm and stuff, and keep our hands like fluid and warmed and whatnot. So that's why like I can kind of upkeep like, you know, 400 or 500 APM starter stepping in this game and it not phase me because I'm so used to being that busy. You said, may you ask what you said, what name did I use when I played StarCraft? Well, Dioxygen is what I use, but I don't know how much you're gonna find of me because there are no like live videos of me playing. The only like live casted match was against TL Bomber when I was casted by well, we called it Taste Toasters at the time, which I'm sure you know what that means, right? You know the combination of casters, Taste Toasters, Artosis and Tasteless or whatever, right? Yeah. So I got absolutely destroyed, obviously, versus TL Bomber. It wasn't even funny. I think that was the time where I think I knew, like, because like you know that you're playing a different game. Yeah, TL Bomber, yeah. Yeah, he didn't even take me seriously either, which is, I mean, I kind of wouldn't take me seriously either since I was kind of a no-name. Like, because like, they're more professionals than you know, but not everybody was in the spotlight. If that makes sense. Like there are literally some professionals that the only thing they do is just help train other people, and that's it. Like they're practice partners, and that's it. They don't go compete. They don't go do anything outside of like, you know, Smurf on ladders or whatever. But they don't go compete or anything. But yeah, I did go get TL Bomber, and like I actually prepared for that match too. I prepared. I mean, I did everything I possibly could to not get embarrassed. I mean, I wasn't gonna win. Let's be 100% clear. I had no chance of winning, and I knew that. But I at least wanted to put up a fight. That was a plan. Put up a fight. That's all I wanted to do, right? And so I studied all of his openings on every map in TVZ, every single one of them. And when I played against him, all 3 matches, he literally did something different. He literally just practiced different things on me, and like it looked like I was so unprepared. Even Taste Toasters, which is like, bro, is like, he's like, I feel bad for this guy because like literally TL Bomber is just trying strats out, and like obviously that made me look really bad because it's like I was preparing for what he was the best. Actually, he was considered the 3rd best at the time. Marine King Prime was actually number 2 at the time that I fought TL Bomber. But TL Bomber was like top 3 Terran player in the world. But yeah, Marine King Prime was number 2 at the time. I forgot who was number 1. But yeah, TL Bomber was 3 at the time. Regardless, though, I got absolutely like torn apart. Like, dude could have worker rushed me and I would have lost. All 3 times. Dude could have just literally just came with his work. I mean, that's how different the game is. That's how big the gap was between like is the game fun? The game has a very steep entry barrier of entry. I'll put it that way. I think if you want to do like some like Archon mode or something like that, like that's really fun. But like if you're if you want to play and you're looking to be like even remotely competitive, bruh, I would warn against it, to be honest with you. It's an extremely hard game to be good at. I'll put it that way. Franklin's, what's going on, man? But it is fun when you start getting good, though. It is fun and it becomes addicting because when you start getting like decent, you start to realize how good you're not because of how good you are. So like the better you become, the more you realize how good you're not. And so you continue to keep studying and like watching the matches. At the time, GSL was what I studied, basically. GSL A and GSL S. But that's dangerous because it just takes so much of your time. Which is why I refuse to play any other action or any other RTSs since then. Because I know that if I even feel like I'm even a fourth as good as I used to be, then like that's it. I wouldn't be, there'll be no D4, there'll be no anything. I'll just be playing that. And I just don't have time for that. That'd be bad for, my marriage and all that stuff like that. Machine, what was your favorite thing about StarCraft? What you really like about StarCraft? Because you said you were a fan. I kind of got into StarCraft pretty late-ish. Well, Brood War, I'll put it that way. I was never really that good at Brood War. I like Brood War, but I came in pretty late, and learning how to deal with the UI was well above my ability at the time. Because honestly, like half the game is just learning. It's just learning how to deal with the UI. What's up, Die? Having fun with this build. Still need to clear pit 100. You could do it, man. Just make sure that you get a boss with minions, and you'll be golden. It looks like people are taking it too far, and now you have to get it. I'm a Korean. Oh, well then, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, StarCraft was basically a sport in Korea. Like you guys had it on televisions and everything. Like literally, there was a channel dedicated to StarCraft. Like. Have I been to Korea? No, I have not. That was one of the times where like, I really wanted to go to Korea. I actually wanted to make GSL, like get like a spot in GSL or whatever, so I could get a free trip to Korea. But I was never good enough to make it that far. But yeah, I totally understand, man. I get it. That brings me, that kind of takes me back, man, for sure. Yeah, bro, I would have been fine with GSLA if I would have like just barely made GSLA, man. I'm telling you. I mean, people always, kind of harped on GSLS is where it's at, but man, like, I mean, to even just get the GSLA was like ridiculously hard. People didn't realize like how good those players were too. Like, yeah, my favorite players to watch during that time frame was Marine King Prime, just because he was just like so emotional. Like he was such an emotional player, and you can feel the passion when he when he was playing. It was so sad because he got second place so many times. He was like destined to be like second place, like throughout his career. And then I Am Nesty was like the person I watched probably the most as a Zerg player, which at the time obviously he was pretty much considered the best Zerg player at that point. Then the Fruit Dealer had a little bit of a rising himself after he won that one tournament, but then he kind of fell off after that. Yeah, we could talk. We could talk for ages about some StarCraft 2, man. But I will say that I probably would never get back into an environment like that anymore, though. Not the game is fault or anything like that, but just the way that, pro teams can be ran and stuff. It's, playing for a team is like a business. At the end of the day, you're basically an employee for said team, and that's why like you see, I don't know if anyone like follows like team-based esports like Overwatch and Dota, League of Legends and stuff like that. But like I don't know if you guys ever wondered, like when a team is doing really well that season or whatever, and then somehow for some reason like they split up or they lose like 2 or 3 members, and you're just like, wait, I don't understand. Like they were doing so well, like they just got like second place in this tournament and won the other tournament. Like why would they split? There's always way more drama behind the scenes than people really realize. Even tactics sometimes, it can be quite toxic, because even like all these especially team sports for sure, like team esports, like with coaches and things, like sometimes there are strategies that a team wants to do, but the coach is telling them to do something different, and you have to follow that. So even if you're like the team captain and you think that that's a bad idea or a bad choice, you still got to do it because that's your boss, technically. So if you ever wonder sometimes why, sometimes, like not all the time, but like sometimes, if you ever wonder why a team chose a really awkward strat that just didn't work out whatsoever, it's not because the team chose to do that. They were basically told by the coach to do it, but you can't say anything. It's in your contract. You can't say anything. You really can't say anything. But you can relate it to, like, let's say sports, like if, like football, someone try to kick like a, do like a fake field goal and it doesn't work out. Right. It's not like, the team captain made that call, the quarterback made that call. No, that was a coach. and you just got to do it, right? You just got to do it. It is what it is. Might be a bad call, but whatever, you know. But because of that, it does kind of make for a very not so much fun environment as people may think. And again, maybe if I played for like a different team or something like that, it would have been a different experience or whatnot. For sure. You know, every team is ran differently. But it is what it is. I blame Idra. Yo, Idra was... You don't know what you're talking about? Yeah, Idra... So, I had many ZVZs with him. Oftentimes, I would, you know, we would practice together. I was actually really good at the ZVZ match because it was very fast-paced, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed the ZVZ match. Don't know why. He hated it, but I enjoyed it. He just hated everything, but I'll put it this way. Idra was one of the best players that people never knew. And I say that because if he was mentally like in his right mind that day, he was probably one of the hardest people to beat, period. Problem is, it's so easy to throw him off his game mentally that he oftentimes ends up looking like he's throwing a match or will quit way too early because it's just so easy to, you know, enrage him. That's why Koreans would would do like somewhat, I'm gonna say off the wall things, but will purposely like mess with them mid match just to like piss them off, because they know that if they do, then it's gonna be an easier win. You know, like, you know, clone the Void Rays. I think everybody remembers that match when he legit like rage quit over some clone Void Rays, right? Stuff like that. Or how he was actually, I forgot the Terran player he was beating. Yeah, that match. I forgot the name of the Terran player he was fighting. He literally was winning, and then he just quits. And Taste Toast was just like, what? Like, I was watching it live. I was just like, not live like there, but I was like watching it from, you know, my computer or whatever. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. He quit? Like, what? He lost one expansion and like, you know, a couple of workers, and he was still up. And he was just like GG and just like, just quit. So you just like, no, man. Dude, no. You were winning. But he was so good though. Like when he wasn't like under pressure like that, like if it was just like, you know, you were, you know, doing practice games and stuff like that against him, like you had like no chance. You stood no chance. No one on the team stood a chance against Idra in a non-pressured environment. It just, no. You just didn't. But yeah, if people only knew just how good he really was, like he could hang out. He could hang with anyone in GSLS at the time. Granted, he was focused. Granted that he was focused. And he wasn't like, you know, I don't know. I can't talk, like I said. I mean, I was nowhere near as good as he was. But man, but yeah, the best strat against Idra was just to troll him. Like that was the best way you were gonna win, for sure. And for quite a few players, probably the only way you were gonna win. Because He'll have to beat himself. Baby Zim, what's going on? Said my handle is based on someone who taught me the intricacies of Diablo 2. Yeah. I kind of feel like when it comes to Diablo in general, I feel like I'm kind of like a foreigner. Because I didn't start with Diablo 2 or Diablo 1. Like I started at the time frame where people felt like Diablo 3 was an embarrassment to the series. Or, you know, that time. Right? Launch of D3, so I kind of feel like an outsider when it comes to like maybe be, you know, in terms of like a Diablo player per se, or someone who plays Diablo a lot. How much more min-maxing I have to do on this row? I'm actually honestly getting some mats to try something a little different. I'm actually not even worried about min-maxing anymore. But I do want to get enough mats to try a alchemical advantage Rain of Arrows setup. It's not going to be that great this patch, but there might be more to it next season. So I want to at least get a gauge of how it might feel now to see what setups can I do for it in PTR. And whether or not I would want to go that route. But technically you can go 3 different routes next season with Rain of Arrows. You can do Precision, which I still think is the strongest route, but it's going to require a really janky rotation. You can do Close Quarters Combat and play it the exact same way we play it right now. Or you can do Alchemical Admixture and play it that way with the same rotation that we have right now, but be more based on poison ish. So we'll see. Carzy, what's up? But how's my journey in Diablo? Probably there's a lot that I could say about Diablo. I guess when I started playing D3, I had like no friends really. I had like the one friend that really who got me into playing Diablo 3 at the time. I think for like the first like 2 or 3 months, I had like 4 people on my friends list in terms of for like Diablo 3. Like, I still play mostly solo, but like, but yeah, I was literally just some dude logging in, killing things, and logging off. And I actually kind of liked that. I actually kind of preferred it that way, given where I was coming from. So I actually kind of preferred the idea that no one knew me. Not many people knew me in StarCraft either, because I didn't really have any like, you know, like actual matches that people can like watch me play per se, because you know I was never really good enough to get on stage and play against the big guys or whatever. But anyways, I was completely unknown in D3, and I kind of liked it that way. Then I guess I started posting on the forums, or actually no, just reading the forums, because I was just curious to see what the community was like. So I started reading the Battle.net forums, and to my surprise, I saw a lot of Demon Hunters at the time was face tanking content. Like literally they were like face tanking stuff, and I thought it was really weird because, I mean, again, I just, you know, I played it ranged, and I didn't watch any videos or anyone do anything or whatnot, so I wasn't watching content at the time. So I just thought it was really weird to see people wanting to play up close where you literally are purposely taking damage to surround yourself with Bola Spy Trap at the time, which was the meta at the time. Imminent Doom and Echoing Blast was basically the meta. So basically you would just gather everything, put all your traps on top of each other, spam Gloom to, you know, basically life leech forever, and then you just kept, you know, shooting Imminent Doom bolas or whatever. And I thought that was the craziest thing. So I'm like, that seems so odd. Why would people want to do that on a Demon Hunter? That seems boring. But all the guys who were like the top guys on the forum at the time were saying that this is the only way you can play Demon Hunter. And that you need a couple of billion, worth of gold for gear to do said build or a strat or whatever. So you have people who spent real money, obviously, to get their gear and become, top dog in the forums or whatever, to showcase their videos or their speed GOM kills or whatever. But I would kind of post sometimes saying that, no, man, you don't have to spend that kind of gold on your gear. No, you don't have to face tank. You can literally just range if you just stutter step or, kind of just like avoid things. Like at the time you could, at the time there was no unavoidable damage in the game. Everything could be avoided except for reflect. So like you could literally just use skill and never get hit and go pure glass cannon. But people laughed at me when I said that. On the forums, it's like, yeah, there's no way that you're doing what you're doing. And back then, obviously, like video recording stuff like that really wasn't as wild or as out there because people, there was no like shadow play at the time, and people were using Bandai Cam or whatever for recording videos and stuff. So, but anyways, eventually I came across this person named Flight, who was pretty popular in the forums, but apparently she's been saying the same things, or been trying to say the same things that I was trying to say, being a newcomer to the forums. And quite funny, quite interesting, she messaged me on the forums and asked if I wanted to, get together and play with her. And I was like, hell yeah. I mean, you're obviously popular, people know you, you're good at the game or whatnot. I'm like, hell yeah, okay. I get to play with someone who's, who knows what they're, who apparently from what I'm hearing plays a stutter style type gameplay range too. So I was excited to meet someone who was playing like me. So we get into the game and we play, and instantly we had chemistry, like in terms of like how we were directing the mobs, how we were kiting, how we were stutter stepping, how we were like instant chemistry. And it was like looking at a mirror at the time. And so she was deciding, she said, you know what? I want to record this. And she's like, do you mind if I record this? And I'm like, no, I don't mind. Yeah, go ahead. Why would I mind? I mean, I'm freaking playing with what I felt was like a foreign celebrity at the time. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And so, so we did. And so she posted it on the forums, the video, and how crazy it was. All the people that like watched the video and like, posted in the thread were so like excited about the video because people were always taught that you had the face tank on Demon Hunter. So like to actually see Demon Hunters play with, not billions of gold gear and still be able to thrash content with range play just really made people excited. It was like, oh man, like people who never post before were coming out of woodworks, all these lurkers and things that were just like, yo, teach me how to do that, teach me how to play like that, how'd you do this, and like, what setups you guys are using. I mean, people were so interested. I mean, we had to make new threads because every thread kept getting capped out at 25 pages in like a day or two of people just kind of just posting about it, being like, thinking that was all crazy. So then Flight had the idea of starting a clan. She was like, hey, we should probably start a clan, because we got all these people, and of course there was no clan support in the game, so no one really, you had to kind of do like, your own thing technically outside the game. But yeah, so we had our own clan. We started our own clan. It was actually called Glass Cannon Build. It was a pretty bad name, but that's the name she came up with, and I was like, yeah, fine, that's fine. GCB, we'll rock with that for sure. And basically, it was really a clan based on teaching demon hunters how to play range and stutter step, basically, like how to actually like maneuver and not get hit and not take damage or whatnot. And that's what we did. We literally just helped anybody who was willing, who wanted to play that style of play. And you can imagine the people on the forums were mad. The elite players on the forums were mad because they weren't getting the attention anymore like that. And there were like two people who were really, I guess we ended up being really competitive for a long time. I kind of miss those days because we went back and forth at each other like hard. Like it was kind of like rap beef, in a sense. Like, think like Jay-Z, Nas rap beef kind of sort of thing between me and this guy for like years. Well, not years, but like about a year. Because he would literally just spend hundreds of dollars on his gear or whatever. And I'm just like, bro, I can do what you can do with like 400 million, gold worth of gear, just being decent at the game. And of course, obviously he didn't too much take care for that. But anyways, point being is that like, introducing a new style of play I thought was fun for the forums and was good for the forums, but of course you had your elitists who were upset about it. So it was like, okay, well, post your GOM clears, because apparently your GOM clear was how you determine how much DPS you were really putting out, whatever. So you had to like do those kind of challenges and whatever. And I would literally either be like 1 second behind, or I would match people who spent like 7 times more gold than I did on my gear. But yeah, so that became a thing. And then I think Flight, she ended up phasing out like after about 3 or 4 months. I don't know what really happened to her, but I think either I wouldn't say she was getting burnt out of the game, but I think she wanted more competitive aspects in the game that just really didn't exist. And she just kind of like phased out for a bit. But she was a first person shooter. She was an FPS player, like really good at FPSs. Like really good. So I don't even know what made her kind of come to Diablo to begin with. And she can pretty much like play for like an amateur team at any point if she wanted to. She was like that good in any FPS games. But after she kind of phased out and left, that kind of like left me in charge because I was like the co-founder of the clan. So I ended up changing the roles. No longer was the name, GCB anymore. I renamed it from GCB to TPA, which is the Prime Assassins. So for those who are in my Discord and you see the Prime Assassins channel, that's what that was or is. And instead of being a clan that was just for demon hunters at the time, and because I think at the time too, I think she really wanted to meet certain standards. Like you couldn't be too tanky. Like I think she wanted, like you had to kind of like have a certain amount of EHP. You have to be under a certain threshold of EHP to be part of it, because if you have too much EHP, then you can just start tanking stuff and kind of defeats the purpose of trying to learn to play range. I think that was the point initially, but I thought that was too harsh. I'm like, I don't think we should have that requirement. So I just kind of just threw that requirement away, and I'm just like, anybody who wants to learn how to play some ranged or whatever can join in and, join the fun of that. We'll teach you all that stuff. So it still became mostly demon hunters at the time, but I think we ended up branching out and just including multiple people, classes, whatever. But it was still mostly demon hunters for most Diablo 3's lifetime. We were actually one of the earliest clans and probably longest running clans in Diablo 3 that, kind of stuck around and stood the test of time. There are some people who in the stream, who follows the stream now, who was and actually is still part of TPA. Oscar Divine is one. Picha Power is also TPA. Area was TPA. Yeah, let's just say I had some pretty rocky history of the forums not liking me much. And then I guess having that celebrity success when that video came out, and of course when we created the clan or whatever. So I went from being hated on the forums to being well liked by most, I guess. And then when we had the five kingdoms challenge, which was we had the 5 kingdoms challenge at one point. And it was interesting because it was sponsored by practically a rich guy, like a guy who was pretty much flaunting his money, basically, let's be honest. Wanted to make a challenge between the classes, like Barbarian, Witch Doctor, Demon Hunter, Wizard, Monk. And so he wanted to make a challenge to see who can clear certain areas the fastest. You know, certain areas the fastest, to certain bosses the fastest, etc. But the thing is that it was class versus class. So everybody, every forum on like every Battle.net forum, like class Battle.net forum, whatever, had to pick a leader, someone to represent their kingdom, basically. And so there was a whole thread about it, and like the guy was offering like a lot of gold and actually like real money for this challenge, by the way. So like it was actually like a really big thing at the time. And I remember posting in the thread or whatever, like, you know, I guess he made a thread, you know, saying, you know, you guys pick your lead, you know, pick who's representing your kingdom or whatever. And as shocked as I became about it, my name came out a lot in that, and I was kind of shocked because I mean I don't think I wouldn't say I wasn't a nice guy, but I was pretty adamant about the idea of someone saying that Demon Hunter can't do something when I was proving that Demon Hunter could do a said thing. So I think some players who didn't really understand how to play the class well didn't really like me that much because I was pretty assertive. You know, I was like, yeah, sure, you can do this on Demon Hunter. All you gotta do is this, this, and this, or that, and you're fine. You know, but that might have came off sometimes as kind of harsh in a sense, because I didn't really want, I don't know. But anyways, I was surprised to see my name kind of thrown in the hat as much as it was. So I was the team captain for Demon Hunters for the 5 Kingdom challenge or whatever. So I was responsible for putting the team together, or putting the team who was going to play together in this challenge, or whatever, versus the other classes. And Demon Hunters were known to be rebels, and we hated barbarians. Like, we loathed barbarians. Like, there was real hatred between the two classes, and that kind of blends into Diablo 4 with rogue and barbarian. It's not as nearly as bad, but like it stems way back in the Diablo 3 days. And long story short, we ended up getting kicked out of the event because apparently we weren't following we didn't, some of the things that he was asking, he wanted like to add like personal things into it, so it started to make it look like he wasn't trying to be neutral about what he wanted between the classes, and more so about the show he wanted to see. And since he was the one sponsoring it, you know, people had to go with it, and people just like, okay, this sucks, but he is sponsoring the event, so we'll do it his way. Not Demon Hunters. We didn't do that. We called him out on his BS. And he basically disqualified us from the tournament, like the Demon Hunters from the tournament. But we still went on. So even though we weren't part of the tournament anymore, we didn't take any more of his gold that he was sponsoring with, that we had to spend to get the gear to do the said challenges or whatever. What we did was we fundraised our own gold on the Demon Hunter forum. So we basically did a GoFundMe before GoFundMe was even a thing. For gold, that was not real money, but for gold. So we ended up raising our own gold to do the challenges anyway, even if we weren't part of the tournament anymore, just in spite of him being the way that he was. And we would have won technically, because there were some snapshot and stuff that that Demon Hunters could do with rapid fire. They just, no other classes was as, pretty close to that type of power at the time. And yeah, so we won. We would have won. But it was the one time where like an entire forum got together, and instead of arguing with each other, like we all got together for a common purpose to literally send the middle finger to this one dude. And it was glorious. It was great. I still remember that as if it was yesterday. But that was a really fun community to be a part of. At the time. So I had a lot of really cool experiences in Diablo 3, especially like the earlier days. I think that's why like Diablo 3 vanilla before the expansion will always have like a special place, because there was just some stuff we just got into that doesn't really exist anymore. Like stuff like that doesn't really exist, or can't, I would say can't, but just doesn't exist to that extent like that anymore. Like that was a one of a time timeline for that game. I put it that way. Past that point, I spent more time complaining about the game, early stages of Reaper of Souls, until I eventually ended up quitting the game for like about a year and a half. And during that year and a half, I played Heroes of the Storm, Monster Hunter, those kind of things, more Smash and stuff. I think it was like Smash 4 at the time. This came out then. Stuff like that. I would log back in just to say hi to people in the clan or whatever, but or look at patch notes or whatever. And if I wasn't happy with the game, I'd be like, nope. Yeah, Heroes of the Storm. I know. It was fun though. It was. I mean, there was fun to be had in Heroes of the Storm. I didn't like the idea of like, it being so reliant on like your team doing well per se versus you specifically doing well. But I like the characters, and because I play a lot of not Diablo, a lot of Blizzard games, I can relate to the heroes a lot more. Was I doing Smash Facebook tournaments? I did like I did a few in Ultimate actually. I did a few of them in Ultimate, but not Smash 4. What's that kind of armor from? It looks awesome. I have no idea. I like only started transmogging my mount this season. Usually I kind of just roll with the season 1 Phantom Ghost horse or whatever, Phantom horse, which looked really bad, but I just didn't care. Goodness, bro, Bunker Silver Story. It was like, it was cool. I was pretty much like, even in like Reaper of Souls, I mean, I still posted on the forums quite a bit. But obviously the population and the players was a lot lower, so like it just it didn't have the same community like it did back then. Even if there was way more drama between me and Empreza, which we went back and forth all the time. It was I won't say it was frustrating, but it was such a rivalry that everybody on the forums just tuned in for it. Didn't even matter which side you were on. You were just there because it's like you just had to be there. I mean, we went at each other, man. But past that point, man, I think when I did return to Diablo 3 eventually, when they actually added more sets, so there were more builds to play, I guess. I decided to, I guess, take Greater Rift pushing a little more seriously, a little, like just a teeny bit or whatever. Because now I had some fun builds that I actually wanted to actually play. Even if I wasn't necessarily happy, completely happy with the game state, the combat was still fun to play. But it wasn't until like COVID that I actually started streaming the game. And because I had nothing to do, I couldn't work either one of my jobs because both of my jobs required me to be in person in the public around a lot of people. So I was bored, and I was like, I'm not gonna just sit around and do nothing. So, might as well stream the gameplay that I talk about on the forums or whatever. So, and that was kind of my start to streaming in a sense. And I had no intent of being long term. Like literally, I was gonna stream until the world opened up again. Basically, that was the plan. It's like the moment that I can go back to work, I was gonna stop streaming. So I had no intent on doing this long term. And then actually, it was the same year. It was the summer of that year. Not even like 3 or 4 months into, no, actually about 3 or 4 months into 2020. And then we had BlizzCon line eventually down the run. Like I literally wasn't even streaming for 3 or 4 months, and I had a couple of Blizzard representatives like kind of just chilling in my channel. Didn't even know that they were until like I think Pez Radar or Adam, whatever you want to call him, actually said hi in chat. And I had like maybe like 500 followers, and was averaging like 14 people or whatever viewership, like, and that was good for me at the time, like really, really good. And I made Iria double check to make sure that this guy wasn't fake, like that that Pez Radar's account wasn't fake, because I'm like, why would he be here in my stream? Like it makes zero sense, to me. I'm such a small creator. Why would he even like be checking out what I'm doing? But apparently there was something that I was doing that Blizzard liked. And so T-Money, appreciate the follow. So over time, I kept getting like little opportunities to do things for Blizzard or be part of Blizzard things. And I never really understood why initially, because I'm like, why are you here when you can be on Rax's stream or these guys stream or whatever streams or whatever. Obviously they were there too, but I guess always assume that you're a big company. Like you being on my stream is just a waste of time. I can't even provide you with anything worth a value to your company because I'm small. Like what can I really do to help Blizzard in any way, shape, or form? But it seemed like they didn't really care about that. They just thought that they really liked the vibes of my stream, and so they wanted to, I don't say be a part of it per se, but like just, sort of like get me into the partner program, and they did like a spotlight for me earlier on my streaming career, and I even got a chance to sit there and talk about my experiences with Blizzard games. On BlizzCon line, so I was actually in the trailer on BlizzCon line in the beginning to kind of like do a testimony, a testimony of my Blizzard experiences and stuff like that. So that was actually kind of cool. And so when it kept happening, or when stuff like that kind of kept happening, and then Wyatt Chain actually came to my stream that one time randomly, unscripted interview during the time frame when I was playing Diablo Immortal Alpha at the time, like the alpha version, which was actually a really good game at that point. At that point, it was really good. There was obviously no RMT or anything like that there, or any resemblance of it at all. I'll say real money trading. Sorry, there was no pay to win. I put it that way. The game was being pretty well received at the time, and YA Chain just stopped by my Discord randomly. I mean, legit random. This is in 2021, I believe it was. I think it was 2021 or 2022. 2021, I think it was. Summer. And so I was like, he stopped by my Discord. He's like, hey, you know, do you mind if I chat with you to your audience on Discord? And I was like, yeah, I mean, you're freaking YA Chain. Why do you have to ask for that permission? Like, bro, you just come on, just come on in. You gotta be all like, you know, like up in the YA Chain. I mean, I'm pretty sure he still works on Diablo Immortal, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But like he was big into Diablo 3. He was also one of the original developers in Diablo 2 as well. So like he did work on Diablo 2 as well. But anyways, yeah, it was so he joins in the stream, and like literally people were just like, you know, first they were just like, oh my god, is that who I think it is? And I'm like, yo, yeah, this is YA Chain. And like people thought that like I knew or whatever, right? Like people thought I knew. You wanna show your face on stream now? Oh no, that's fine. I mean, I don't think they've ever seen you before. That's my wife, by the way, for those of you. Tell me about your trip later. But anyways, so he people thought that like I planned the interview, or you know, I just didn't tell them that surprise. But literally, I'm like, no, I think literally this is unscripted. For about a whole hour and a half, we just have to talk about anything Diablo related for a whole hour and a half on a stream. And like he was a fun guy to talk to. And I think I was actually playing with Rax, Rob, and someone else in Diablo Immortal at the time. We were just kind of just blasting late night or whatever. And it was fun. But I think it was after that moment though, after the moment that YA Chain came to my stream and kind of talked to me, I kind of realized that I might want to take this like more seriously. Like apparently they see something in me that I apparently don't see or wasn't seeing at the time. That maybe I should put more effort into doing this in a more serious, like at the time I was just streaming at night, maybe like 4 times a week, you know, sort of random times, no real direction, just playing the game, not making any YouTube videos, just literally just turn the stream on, turn on some music, talking to the audience, you know, that kind of thing. Like I would help people like if they needed help with Demon Hunter, but you know, I had no real clear direction, I'll put it that way. But I think it was that moment that I was like, you know what, I should take this a little more seriously. Because like it's not every day that people can literally get individuals like that to be interested in what you're doing. People usually have to ask for stuff like that, you know, and for them to come to me means that there's something here. I just don't know what that something is, but apparently there's something here. And yeah, I think that's when I decided, like, you know, I probably will do this long term. You know, I'll maybe not like full time per se, still, but like definitely take it a bit more serious than I used to. So obviously kept going with Diablo 3 into Diablo 4, and then it picked up by Maxroll before Diablo 4 actually released. Eventually, like I was cool with some of those guys anyway beforehand, in terms of like, you know, as a content creator, but like didn't really do any work for Maxroll, obviously. Do you think time was better in old timer form? Oh man, like I miss the old forms so much. It was actually like busy, as in like lots of people were posting, and like Now, I stayed away from general discussion forums, but I definitely posted a lot in the class forums. Like general discussion forums is basically just like a Reddit light. So I stayed away from that. So I always felt bad for Wyatt Chain. I got the feeling that he put his heart and soul into Diablo Immortal, made a great game, and then was told that how it was gonna be monetized. That's practically exactly what happened. People blame Wyatt Chain for the monetization of the game, and he has nothing to do with that. His job was to make sure that the things that the company wanted was implemented in the game. So he had to monetize it in the way that a mobile game would be monetized, and he had to create a system that pleased that agenda per se. So yeah, I mean, obviously his hands are tied with that. I can tell you because I've been in some talks. I'll say that much when it came to that. But yeah, it wasn't Wyatt Chain per se, but Wyatt Chain had nothing to do with the monetization system. I'll put it that way, or the monetization strategy. I'll put it that way. Like you can blame him for the system in place. You know, the system he chose to do it with, like the whole legendary crest or whatever. You can blame him for that if you want, right? But the thing is that no matter what, whether it was legendary crest or you straight up buying gear, you know, with real money, the monetization practice strategy was going to be there, and it had to be aggressive because that's what they wanted. I guess it was more about your understanding of the game and not the viewer numbers. I guess maybe. I mean, well, yeah, it definitely wasn't about the viewer numbers for sure. It was not about the viewer numbers. They made that was clear. I guess being part of the Diablo partner program is really about the community rather than yourself. Because we're basically ambassadors that kind of help bridge the gap between, you know, everyday players per se and the devs. In a sense, the devs are employees or whatever. So we kind of help give Blizzard a clearer picture of what's going on around the scenes per se. And oftentimes we do use our expertise to kind of put a cherry on top, I guess, when it comes to some feedbacks or whatever. But ultimately, we're mostly responsible for kind of gathering, you know, the feedback, how you guys are feeling about said game, you know, etc. Like, that's the main thing. And I think the thing is that when it came to community or, you know, having a really good vibe or, you know, people like the atmosphere, I think I did that pretty well. But that's because I you know, I'm a teacher, so I pay attention to my audience quite a bit, and I talk to my, you know, chatters or whatever. I think honestly that was probably a bigger thing than just my knowledge of the game. But while I still complain, don't get me wrong, I still complain about things in this game and whatnot, and in Diablo 3 and stuff like that. The one thing I will say about Blizzard, or at least the partner program, is that they're the only company I know so far, and I could be wrong, but they're the only company so far that I have knowledge of. And again, I repeat, that I have knowledge of. I could be ignorant, and that's, you know, that. But what I have knowledge of, that actually looks at the creator for the creator, and not just numbers. Not, well, what can these guys do for me financially per se? Is there a financial incentive bringing these guys in or bringing that guy in to work with that guy? obviously I don't bring Blizzard any real money, monetization or whatever. I'm still not big enough for that, right? But most companies won't work with you or even look at you unless you have a certain CCV or a concurrent viewer count. I know that obviously just from the many like things that I might have gotten emails from other companies, you know, asking what my asking rate is and what my current CCV is, or they might stop by and watch and, you know, there's like, you know, how much do you really average in terms of viewership or whatnot? Like, obviously I get that and I understand that, right? Like I understand, you said 4G, no, you trolled me. I had a double take. I'm like, I don't even think it can roll a 4GA. I think only 3GA is the thing. Oh no, I have a 3GA. I don't think you can even get a GA on the double damage, unfortunately. It's a bug. But I think so if there's anything I can say about Blizzard is that like they actually look at the content creator for the content creator and what they do versus how big they are. I would say most people in the Diablo partner program aren't nearly as big as, let's say, Rax or Moody or Rob or those numbers. Like most of the people who are in the program are like my numbers or lower, with some being a little higher and then some being like really high. But the program itself is, or Diablo partners are, you know, just a variety of different communities with, you know, usually lovable personalities or who also know, you know, stuff about the game. But yeah, so that's the reason why like sometimes I won't say I give the side eye to some of the other action, especially action RPG companies, because it's like obviously they're doing it because it's a business, but at the same time it's like we get so many compliments about or comments about how some of these devs are so passionate and whatnot, and then you don't go out and seek other passionate action RPG players because their viewer count isn't high enough. So now for the perception that, you know, let's say these guys are so down to earth, but we are chasing the guys who are going to give them bigger advertisement opportunities, which again, as a company, I totally understand that. I totally get that from a company standpoint to make money, etc. I do think that the way that Blizzard does it, I'm not saying it just because I'm in it, but I think the way that Blizzard does it is more beneficial overall, even if it's not monetarily beneficial. If it's just more feedback in general, it's more beneficial in the long term than just the, you know, sponsoring a creator, like sponsoring Woody Joe per se, for example, who was going to play the game anyway, regardless, or your action RPG anyways, whether you sponsored him or not, he was going to play anyway. Right. Just because he's an action RPG player, he's going to try new things. But yeah. So if there's one thing I really can't say about Blizzard, like I think that's really cool. You know, people like Seattle Witch, who, you know, not many people know too much about, who play a lot of D3. She's part of the, you know, program. But she, you know, she has a really insightful community. Snuggie, you know, those kind of things. Also, too, another great thing I like about the Diablo partner thing in a sense is that I can still talk shit about the game. Granted, I do give constructive criticism. I don't just talk shit to be talking shit usually, even if I am saying the same thing over and over again. Bugs, right? But I'm free to say whatever I need to say. I'm not bound by any contracts or anything to literally, you know, speak positive about the game. Like, I don't have to say nothing but positive things. Like, I'm not bound to that. Whereas if you're sponsored by another action RPG, usually stuff like that, you got to be careful what you say because they're paying you. Whereas in Diablo Partner program, technically, you know, well, not technically, you're not, we don't get paid to be in the program or whatnot. There is no whatever. Now we do have NDAs per se, yes, but yeah. PoE plans? Yes, I plan on playing PoE on December 6th. PoE 2. It's hard to say what my long-term plans are in PoE 2 because I'm the kind of person that waits to play it before I give my determination. I want to play PoE 2 as like another action RPG that I can kind of rotate with Diablo 4 and kind of have like no downtime between the seasons and leagues. That's the ideal. That's the ideal. But I don't know. I don't know what's gonna really happen. Super good timing to have PoE 2 early access season 7. Yeah, exactly. This is like the best time to do it. And Christmas break is around the corner for me, so no school or whatever, no teaching in school or whatever. So like that gives me time to blast. Am I rolling Ranger? Oh yeah, absolutely Ranger. You guys already know. Random question: do you think season 7 theme suggests that they abandoned the Witch Doctor as a future D4 character? I don't know. I don't think we'll see the Witch Doctor anytime soon, but I think they plan on making or milking expansions with characters, with classes that they can bring back to, appease the player base. But I do think if they bring back the Witch Doctor, it's got to be radically different from Necro. They try to do that a little bit in D3, and I guess it kind of worked ish. But there's definitely some overlap. But Reddit told me you guys are all Blizzard shills. Are you telling me Reddit isn't 100% accurate? I always kind of have to laugh when people say that, especially like Diablo partners, or, it's like, oh, they get, they're paying you to do such and such, or you're getting paid to do this, or, they're telling you to play the game every day, or they are, you have to say positive things about them, or you get in trouble. You guys can't say no. Like none of that is true. Like, you can't. I put this way, you can't really like, let's say talk about the devs' moms or something. Like you can't just go off and just be like, like hateful towards the devs for no reason. Like I think that won't fly in any case scenario, right? But like if we're just criticizing the game, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we do. Like all Diablo partners have criticized the game in different manners. We've said good things about it, obviously too, because well they were good, right? But we've also said bad things, because they were bad, There's a whole video about like, I don't know, was it Hawk? I think it was. I don't remember. Was it Hog? Hog, I think it was. Was it Hog? I don't know. Came out with a video saying that like, that don't trust the players or the content creators that say that the game is good or that the season is like the best thing ever. And that they'll probably be being paid by Blizzard or whatnot. And I'm just like, yeah, no, bro. I don't think anyone's ever really said that this season was great. People might have said that the expansion was good, but no one, I don't think anyone is that I know of that, that said that they actually liked the season. Or thought that the season was one of the greatest ever. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. Diablo partner or not. Thank you for playing and not only waiting for PoE 2. I feel like it's going to, honestly, for me, I think it's going to be more fun to kind of jump into PoE 2 without knowing what I'm really doing. I'm not saying that I can't go look up a couple of things or here and there, but like, since I didn't really play PoE 1 like that, I want the opportunity to be bad and be like a pretty much a complete noob and like learn what it's like to be in that position again. If I just study the game now and then try to learn like literally everything and follow a build or like a predetermined build or whatever, I'm missing out on the experience of like learning the game while playing the game. I'm not saying that there's anything bad about wanting to be like really good on day one or wanting to know what you're doing on day one, but because I haven't really played the genre, like the game like that, like Path of Exile like that, I had the opportunity to be like a noob, like a true noob, like a true newbie. You know what I mean? And I want to experience that. Like I want to be bad. I want to make a bad setup and be like, oh god, this is terrible. Like I want to go through those experiences. I know that might sound super weird as a content creator to not want to sit there and like make content and like try to be the best I can be and not look bad and try to get everyone to follow me and say, yo, check out this really cool build or whatever like that I'm playing. I know that probably goes against everything content creator 101. But like I think as a human, as a player, as just a gamer, I want to fail and make bad builds while trying to learn the game. Like I want to do dumb things or things that are considered, terrible. Like it's okay. Like, like I find that fun. Isn't that what we did back in the day? Isn't that what we did back in the day before we looked up stuff? Hard games like Ghouls and Goblins or whatever back in the day. Like we couldn't look up anything. Like you learn by getting your ass kicked. That's exactly right. Like that's just what it was. Eventually, you got better at it, but I think some of the fun part was getting your ass kicked. Right? It was very harsh. It was punishing game, but it was fun. Right? Can I get past 100 piss with Dance of Knives? You can, but like you're gonna have to. Are you snapshotting? By the way, like, are you following a guide like the Maxroll guide and like snapshotting everything? Because if you're not snapshotting, you're not gonna get anywhere close to 100. To be honest with you, I'm sorry. I think it's silly that it's that way, but it is kind of that way. What would I recommend as a fresh boost at level 60 in Diablo? You made a Spiritborn, a Druid. What playstyle do you like? Like if you had to, or what playstyles do you like? So you play Spiritborn, you play Druid. Something that would be vastly different in Druid would be, I'd probably say Sork or Rogue. I'd probably say Rogue because I think Rogue has a lot of build options. That are fun. And say just because you're perfect, I wouldn't be here. Well, I mean, of course, no one is perfect. That's the only way for people to believe you is by being hateful. They don't think constructive criticism exists. That's true. There's a lot of sometimes the issue, I don't say issue, but sometimes I have a problem with people saying, like, I would say the internet has two modes. It's either the greatest, that a game is either the greatest thing ever existed or it's the worst thing ever created. There's never like an in between. Like games can't just be good. No, it's good or it's okay. It's mid. No, it's either it's like best thing since sliced bread or it's the worst thing and they should never play, create that game or whatever. Like, yeah, it's never any in between. At least that's what the internet would have you believe. Right? And I mean sometimes it really is, the content creators too sometimes, right? We tend to exaggerate, right? Because we, content creators want the clicks, right? So we clickbait and we put the choice words that makes the YouTube algorithm like our video to put it on the recommended whatevers or front page or whatever you want to call it, whatever. So like, yeah, there's just some, words like best and OP and S tier and all time. And if it's bad, then it's like, we have to use the other words for that, like worst thing ever, question mark, question mark, question mark. Don't play this or don't do such and such, or like there's just certain keywords that you have to kind of, well, I'm saying have to use, but like get caught up in the YouTube algorithm or whatever. But anyways, but yeah, Point being is that yeah, internet will make you believe that there's no in between. Actually, kind of funny. I think in retrospect, I would say D3 at release was mid. I kind of would agree with that actually. Um, I do think that obviously there were some really bad decisions made early on. But I mean, I will say actually I would say I enjoy my time in vanilla. Sometimes in vanillas, even sometimes more so than ROS, because I felt like I can make my own builds in vanilla. Because the gear was so bad, the itemization was so bad that it didn't matter what items you had, so it was all about the skills you picked. Whereas in Reaper of Souls, they made set items and they picked the skill, they picked the builds for you basically. So didn't play D3 at release. It was an interesting time. I'll put it that way. New to Diablo, is Spiritborn better than Necro? Spiritborn is a lot stronger than Necro. I'll put it that way. In fact, Spiritborn is the strongest class by far right now. Okay, the side and the hydrate. I get what I do? What I do? Red Drones, what's up? But Bruno, appreciate the sub. With that being said, I do have hopes that I will enjoy PoE 2 early access. I'm excited to play it. I'm excited for the combat specifically. I won't be watching any PoE videos live stream until then. Like, I just, again, like I said, I kind of want to kind of go in mostly blind as a noob on purpose, and then you guys can kind of see the journey as we go. So, I mean, I think the only thing I'll be like decent with is like probably combat, because I think because combat is more so like, your ability to be able to control the character and react in situations, right? So I think I'll be pretty good at that at the start. I mean, obviously I will make mistakes and die. It's gonna happen just because I don't know the enemy's attacks and stuff like that. It's gonna happen, or my resistances or whatever. But I think if there's anything that I probably will adapt more like quicker to will be combat, and then the other stuff is gonna take me a lot longer to really really learn or whatever. But it'll be fun though. But I do have to take off though, just because I'm trying to keep these streams short for now, so I'm not burning myself out until next week, because next week is gonna be busy. Tuesday is the PTR. I'll be blasting that for the first 3 days, 12-hour streams each, roughly. And then, of course, the release of Path of Exile 2 is that Friday. So I'll be blasting all weekend. So trying not to do too much, I guess, till then. Honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, I'm kind of just streaming this just to kind of talk to you guys. That's kind of what's happening here. So, but let's go to Aurora Games. Aurora Games. I don't know. Shadow Clone testing on Tuesday. I'm probably gonna start with Rain of Arrows first. But if I get around to it that same day, I'll probably do Shadow Clone testing as well. But I'm the most interested in Rain of Arrows actually. Don't get me wrong, I am interested in Shadow Clone. I am interested in Shadow Clone for sure. I just think that I think honestly Rain of Arrows is probably gonna be Rogue's strongest build next season. At least numbers wise. So I kind of want to try to get that kind of taken care of in terms of like what's really happening with random rails, and then kind of branch out to the other stuff. But anyhow, I'm rating out. You won't see me Sunday night because Sunday nights are my nights off from streaming. Until season blast. So like if it's the beginning of the season, that's that Sunday I will stream, obviously, because it's the beginning of the season or whatever. But like next Sunday I will, because that'd be the third day of PoE early access release. So I will stream next Sunday. But this coming Sunday, day off. So I will see y'all Monday night. I might make the alchemical admixture build, and then I'll play some stuff. I might play some Dynasty Warriors or something on the side, like the demo, something I don't have to pay for. But yeah, it'll be a fun time. We have a lot to do. But enjoy her. I will see y'all Monday, and as always, till next time.